Hey Canucks fans, do the Canucks have a true superstar? And if not, who is the closest to being one? I'm Canuck Clay, and this is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Monday, April the 4th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. Thanks to all of you who joined me for my live stream last night. It was nice to get back in the groove. And speaking of back in the groove, I was back at work today. Hence the shirt and tie, looking good as always, sounding better every day. As you know, I was coming off a little bout with a certain something last week that I detailed in excruciating detail last night on my live stream. And yes, even though I was back at work, I'm recording this vlog after work. What I want to talk about today is Patrik Allvin, our GM, his recent comments, or his comments in a recent article, an interview with Patrick Johnson of the Province. And Allvin, he talked about his background, he talked about his hockey background, his journey to the NHL, his journey to Vancouver. But when it got to talking about this club, the team, and the future of the team, what was interesting, he said a few quotes that were interesting, but the ones that stood out to me were, we do not have the superstar. He actually didn't say we don't have a superstar. He says, we do not have the superstar. We are not a contending team, and therefore basically players have to all prove themselves. And I'll quickly gloss over or address the last 2 points because I really want to spend my time talking about the first point. So we are not a contending team. That's fair. That's very fair. We know that the Canucks basically are not going to make the playoffs. They have to go 11-0-1 or 12-0 to make the playoffs. Simply unrealistic. And they're giving away chances, playing against the Blues, playing against Vegas last night and losing in overtime. I think it's fair to say, and I've been saying this as much as it hurts me to say this, they are not a playoff team this year. And it's kind of frustrating that we seem to always be in this position about 10 or 15 or even 20 games away from the end of the season and already talking about, okay, what should the Canucks do for the rest of the season? Are they going to do the T word, which I can't say, or how are they going to build towards next season? It's kind of frustrating that we're always talking about it, but here we are once again. So I don't think we can argue that the Canucks are not a contending team. And honestly, as more and more days pass, I'm resigned to the fact that I'd be okay if they kind of broke up the core a little bit, changed things up, and Patrik Allvin, Jim Rutherford, let them put their own stamp on this team, regardless of whether or not it's with Bruce Boudreau. And I've talked about that before, and I'm sure I'll be talking about that again. So that's the second statement. We're not a contending team. I think that's fair. He also said that all the players have to prove themselves, and I agree with that too. Not one of these players did he trade for, or did except for Travis Dermott, I guess, or did he sign or extend or draft? So really, it's a clean slate, and I think that's the motivation for Patrik Allvin in saying all these comments. Is he's basically saying to the Vancouver Canucks roster, don't get comfortable. No one is untouchable. No one is safe, and I'm giving myself carte blanche to make as many changes as I want in the offseason. So I think that's a very strategic and intentional, the way he said those things is fine. That doesn't sweat me. It did catch me off guard though when he did say we don't have the superstar, and this is what I want to spend a few minutes talking about. Is do you agree with that, or are you saying no? I think we have a lot of superstars, or maybe you think we have a few superstars. I'll give you my reasoning in a second, but I think the important thing to recognize here is it depends on your definition of superstar. If we use a very lenient lower bar, relatively speaking, for superstar, then maybe your talk is an all-star, a superstar. Well, then you can argue then we have Thatcher Demko, JT Miller, Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, Bo Horvat. You can even say, you could say those are all superstars. But that's quite a low bar, and with all due respect to those players. But I think all-star is too low of a bar for superstar. But I don't think you're worried about generational players. Like, we're not going to reserve superstar only for the Connor McDavids, the Sidney Crosbys, and the Alex Ovechkins of the world. Obviously, I think the right answer is somewhere in the middle. So for me, a superstar is someone, regardless of how much they're paid, obviously superstars will get paid well, but I think it's someone that you simply cannot see your team without. It's someone that elevates his game when it matters. It's someone that elevates his teammates' game. Someone who's recognized throughout the league, whether through all-star votes or through individual awards. Maybe it's someone who's helped a team win a Stanley Cup. But it's really, you can't picture the NHL without this player, and you certainly can't picture your own team without this player. So those are very, very rough, off the top of my head, off the cuff definitions of superstar. So if I use all that criteria, and even if I didn't think about it and think about the criteria, if someone said to me, who's the superstar in the Vancouver Canucks? My first reaction would have been Pettersson about 2 years ago after his rookie season. And then I thought, no, maybe Quinn Hughes, though, is the most important player. But the question isn't who's the most important player. The question is, do you have a superstar? And I don't think anyone would say Quinn Hughes is a superstar just yet. I don't think anyone would say he is a superstar just yet. They both have the potential to be. JT Miller, he's excellent. He's a great player. He's had a great season, or maybe he's a really, really good player who's had a great season, but I still wouldn't call JT Miller a superstar. The one player, though, I would call a superstar is Thatcher Demko. We know how good he was last year. Well, it started in the bubble, then how good he was last year, despite how poor the team was. And we know how good he's been this year in stretches, winning player of the month 1 month, I think, or at least coming in second place, and really making amazing saves, making highlight packages all the time, sometimes with no stick or no glove or no blocker. And he's, yes, I think people around the league do know who he is. And we've seen the crazy things that he's done in a Canucks uniform. He's kind of come back to earth a little bit in the past month or so, but overall, I don't think anyone would argue that him and JT Miller have been our two best players this season. So I would argue, you guys, that Thatcher Demko is a superstar. Now, maybe not everyone around the league would think so, or not yet, and maybe a lot of people will have him behind the Vasilevskis of the world when it comes to goaltending. But I definitely think Thatcher Demko is the furthest along to being a superstar, if not being a superstar already. I think he's a superstar for the Vancouver Canucks for sure, and I do think that he will become a superstar in the eyes of many fans across the league. Now, do the players care? Do you think they get upset when they hear that, oh, Patrick Allvin doesn't consider me a superstar? I doubt it, and I don't think, truly, if any player really, really took an honest look at themselves and the season that the team is having, I don't think anyone could argue that they are a superstar. But it was almost jarring to me when I heard him say it, but not to the point where, oh man, I can't believe he said that. That's the worst thing ever that a GM has said, and now he's going to lose the room or he's going to lose the loyalty of his players. No, I don't think any of those things are going to happen. But admittedly, I was actually quite surprised when I saw the quote in print. But now that I thought about it for a couple days and I really reflect on it, I don't think Allvin is wrong. And I would say that if there is one guy, like I said, or if there's one guy who is closest to being a superstar, I would say it is Thatcher Demko. And Canucks fans, let's be happy that we have him on a superstar contract, 4 more years at $5 million a year. You can't really argue with that at all. Okay, Canucks fans, let me know. Tell me what you thought when you heard of that quote, we do not have the superstar. And tell me if you agree with me that Thatcher Demko is the closest thing to us, for us, to being a superstar. You can tell me if you think he is a superstar already by definition. I think he's borderline. I'd say yes, but maybe I'm being a little bit too lenient. And I think PD and then Hughes are the next two guys in line to achieve superstar status, but they're simply not there yet. But let me know, and I'd love to know your definition of superstar. And given your definition, is there anyone on this Canucks roster who you would consider a superstar right now? Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply. And I would say, when you look back at the history, I wouldn't call Henrik Sedin a superstar, although I think he's the most skilled player we've ever had. But I think the only superstar that we've had on our roster is Pavel Bure. I would call him a superstar because of his excitement, the way he could play the game, the way he brought fans out of their seats. But even him, that might be a tough, a tough criteria, a tough definition, truly to live up to. So let me know your thoughts. Was it Pavel Bure back in the day, and is it Thatcher Demko right now? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read, react, and reply as always. Shout out to my sponsors, Perform and Transform, personal training and weight loss, and to Van City Experts Real Estate Group. Contact Jason Lim and his team for all of your real estate needs. And to my members, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Justin Credible, legendary Andrew Chang, Hall of Fame members, Jens95, simalexander, Chris Seifert, Adam Broomfield, Shannon Hollingworth, Hsmfangirl Gaming, smoovegroove, and Bovenlander. Thank you for your support as always, and thanks to the support of all members of all levels. You are listed in my video descriptions. If you want to become a member of the CCC Crew, press the join button underneath this or my videos on the memberships tab on my YouTube channel. Subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, become a member or upgrade if you'd like to, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to. Do we have a true superstar on the Vancouver Canucks right here, right now? As always, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. And Canucks After Dark is tonight. Parker and I starting, I think, at 10:15 tonight. So hope you can join us for some more Canucks talk. Have a great night. God bless, and go Canucks go.